There's three different ways to pick. One is a two-step process where you decide what to pick and pick. The other is a one-step process where you don't make a decision on what to pick, you just go pick. And then the other is skip picking altogether. In Locate Inventory, all three options are available. I'm Lance, inventory software expert since 2006. In this video, I'm going to show you those three. And of course, we're going to spend most of the time on the most complex process where you decide what to pick and pick. So let's start with simple and then work our way up to more complex. So I bring you here to the picking screen in Locate. Here we are. We've got a big list of sales orders. And on the left-hand side, we've got green checkboxes. So as promised, I'm going to show you how to just skip picking altogether as the first one. So let's quickly look at that for those of you that need to skip picking. Over here on the sales order screen, let's select a sales order. Now this only works if the quantity is available. And when you create the sales order, Locate will tell you if the quantity is available or not. So this order right here under the Operations tab says nothing's been done with picking, packing, or shipping, pickups, or invoicing. Now watch what happens when we come here to Actions and select Autocomplete. Yes, we're going to select Autocomplete and let it run. So if the quantity is in stock, it will pick it, pack it, and if shipping is applicable to the carrier, it will push it through to pickups. Let's refresh this. I just clicked off the tab and back on, and it now says the pick is complete, the pack is complete, the shipment is complete, and it's waiting to be picked up. So that's one way to sort of skip through picking. And then the other way is to have ShipStation do it. So we're going to go to the ShipStation settings. Here we are on the ShipStation settings. This instance of Locate has been integrated with ShipStation. And if we scroll down to the bottom under the general settings, we'll see one of the settings is use Locate for picking. And if we just change this to no, then that would mean that ShipStation is going to do all the fulfillment for the order. And as soon as you issue the order in Locate, it will show up in ShipStation ready for you to fulfill the order in ShipStation. You basically bypass all the fulfillment. Okay? So those are the two options in Locate that let you skip picking or bypass picking. Now there's one more mentionable feature that is kind of relevant to skipping picking. It just does half of a step for you, and that's auto create pick by order. So that might fit your workflow process too. I say this a lot, might as well say it again. In order to have a successful experience with the inventory software you have is to first have it set up right, and then second, use it right? So this is a setting that you want to consider for your company's workflow. May or may not fit. Make sure you make the right decisions when you're setting up the configurations and the data of your software. Okay, so now let's go to number 2, where you don't decide what to pick, you just pick. All right, so this is for smaller companies where picking isn't a big thing, but it is a thing, and we're just picking. Right now I've got up on the screen the mobile device or a mobile emulator by BlueStacks. I've got Locate installed on the mobile emulator by BlueStacks. And we'll see all these warehouse management tools here: cycle counting, moving, packing, picking, receiving, put away. So we're going to go to picking, of course. And on this screen, this is telling us what we're currently picking in progress. So that's nice to see. But where I'm going to take you is here on the new pick. So you can actually select a new pick directly from the mobile device. And I just select the sales order, and now it starts telling me where to go. B1B, and this brings you through the path of fewest footsteps if you have done the proper setup of the software when you first set up Locate and told it what the path of fewest footsteps are through your locations. This pick will take you through the path of fewest footsteps. To this location to pick this, to this location to pick this. And so we just start there, commit. Commit basically means you put it on the picking cart and you roll your picking cart to the next location, select the item, commit. So it tells you where to go to pick, tells you what part to pick. And now instead of selecting, you can scan the location you're going to. Scan the part number that you are picking. And you can scan one at a time. Notice the quantity is 107. I'm pretending like I'm scanning by keying this in and scanning. If I scan the wrong thing, here, let's bring up this example. Here's a barcode. I'm just going to randomly scan. And that says, hey, that's not on the list. So that's a good dummy-proof tool there to prevent us from scanning the wrong thing. So we go through, pick, 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 pick. And if we need to stop the pick in the middle, we can click Finish, and that'll let you pick the rest later. So click Finish, and now we go back to this other order. We're in progress. So anyways, the example here, instead of deciding what to pick and picking, we can just go straight to the mobile device and select Pick. So when is a good time to use this method? If you are small and your volume is low, or both. Maybe your warehouse is under a couple thousand square feet and you only fulfill, so picking isn't a big deal. You don't really need to strategize and decide the most efficient way to pick. You can just go pick, right? So now let's look at strategizing for those of you that have a larger warehouse and more volume. Let's look at that. That's the funner one, right? What are all the options that Locate gives you to help you improve your picking efficiency in the warehouse? Let's go back to the picking screen. Now the first one I look at is availability. Now it's great if your screen looks like this and you've got green check marks all the way down, but that's not always the case, right? Look at this gray square. That means it's not available to pick. So you may not want to include this, right? Well, you can't really include this. Let's go to the next screen. Here we've got yellow. That means on this sales order, only some of the items are available to pick. Okay, so that's one thing to consider when you're deciding what to pick. Over on this little mobile device screen, we don't really have all of this information, right? It's just a list of sales orders and whether they're fulfilled or not. It does tell us the carrier, which is another thing we definitely want to consider for picking. I'll scroll over here, remove my focus. Let's change my focus over to this side of the screen, and we see we have a list of carriers. We can sort by carrier, filter by carrier. There's some orders that don't have carriers assigned. But look, we've got some delivery, some DHL, some FedEx. Now, let's say UPS comes at 11 a.m. and FedEx comes at 4 p.m. to pick things up. So you may want to pick UPS in the morning, FedEx in the afternoon, right? So we would want to group our picks by carrier. Let's say we want to pick everything for UPS. We'll put UPS there, check this box, and then on the bottom right hand side of the screen over here says create combined pick. So we can pick those together. Now you don't have to combine those, I just did for demonstration purposes. But now let's clear this filter out and you can select a different carrier, let's say FedEx this time. And instead of using the checkboxes in the combined, we can click create pick, create pick, create pick, create pick. And now over on the mobile device, since we've created those picks, if we swipe down and refresh this page, we'll see, hey, here's all the picks that we just created. We created the UPS and the FedEx. Obviously, you would do those separately, but as an example, you can highlight, and this order is all picked together, it's still taking us through the path of fewest footsteps through the warehouse. Let's look at another option for creating pics. Now, if I decide I didn't want to create those pics, we can click this back arrow. That takes us to the pics that we created. I can select them all and delete the pics. Now, let me be careful. I've got one that's in progress. That's not going to delete, and say, no, just show me the not started pics. There we go. Now we can delete those. There we go, delete those, click delete, and then refresh. And now we can go back to the pic creations screen, and that put all the pics back on the list, ready to be reorganized or reevaluated. Maybe we changed our mind and we decided we wanted to group it a different way instead of by carrier. So let's look at another key tool on this screen, which I think is helpful for deciding what to pick, and that is the scheduled fulfillment date. The scheduled fulfillment date comes from the sales order screen. I'm going to go to the sales order screen. We're on the sales order screen, and we'll see that on the sales order screen is a scheduled fulfillment date. So that's the date we should start and ship the pick, right? Normally, in most cases, we ship on the same day that we pick, right? So scheduled fulfillment day, that's the day we pick. So we don't want to pick orders that don't need to be picked in the future, so we can click on this filter and we have a date range, which is nice. And this first date, we can just like put it way back, beginning of time. And then the second date, we can put today. There we go. So we've got a date that's a long time ago and a date that's today. We'll apply that. And now that filters the list for a date range, so we don't pick anything that doesn't need to be picked yet. Some customers, now this doesn't happen very often, most people want it as soon as they order it, but some customers order ahead of time, maybe in a blanket, as an example. So schedule fulfillment date, carrier, a lot of different ways to organize and decide what to pick. Another common way is from customer. If we scroll over here to the right, we see this tiny little button, and this lets us show or hide certain data fields on this grid. I'm going to click on that, and we'll see if I scroll down, this is in order that it displays on the screen. I'll click on customer. I can actually move that to a different place if I think picking by customer is important. Come down here and click Save Layout. Now, if you're in a wholesale business, you may just have a handful of customers that order and reorder and reorder and reorder. So this would work well for companies like yours. If you're in the e-commerce business, then you can skip this part of the video. This filter, I don't think would apply to e-commerce where everyone's a different customer. So we see a list of customers. This example is more e-commerce style. I don't see any repeat customers. If I go over to my other file that I prepared before the video to demonstrate this, we'll see that this other locate account that I have shows customers that repeat. I'm kind of showing my age and my preference of music here, and repeat, right? So then this example, there's 24 orders to pick, but if I select from customer, I'll click that, and also change multi-site to no. That means we only want to pick from one site. A site is a building with an address. 90% of the time, that's what a site is, 99% of the time. So now we've grouped it all together and we only have 10 possible picks because we have customers that order multiple times. So now we can just click Create Pick, and it creates a pick for all three of Garth Brooks' orders, 1, 60, 61, and we've got a pick, and that will show up on the mobile device, or you can print out a pick ticket, or you can do both. I know some people that find that it's useful to have both a pick ticket and a mobile device. Okay, let's go back to my other locate account that is more like e-commerce fulfillment. So with this type of fulfillment, we can group by carrier, we can group by the number of lines as well. If we know how big our picking carts are, we want to estimate the number of lines, how much can fit on a picking cart. You see this is a larger order than this, or maybe you're picking with a pallet jack. Then we can select those, come down here to the right and click Combine Pick. We can also assign it to a user. So if you have multiple pickers picking at the same time, you can decide who is going to pick what, and then when it shows up on the mobile device, it'll only show the picks for that logged in user. So people aren't competing for the same pick. We can say this is for the Android user. I just created a user called Android. On that note, back here on the Pic settings screen, there is a setting that shows restrict viewing of pics to assigned users. So this is what I'm talking about here. Limit access to pics to those who they are assigned or have permission to view. All right, back to the picking screen. So I'm now on the manual tab. Divert your attention to part number and see that this part number shows up multiple times. I can't think of an example for this one off the top of my head, so comment below if you're a company that would use this feature and manually select your pics carefully and manually by part. Now let's go to part. I want to focus on this part 10011. If I go from part and then let's sort by part number and look at 10011. Notice each part number just shows up once, so we can pick one part at a time and it combines multiple orders, kind of ignoring the order. I mean, it doesn't ignore the order, but in the pick creation, it's mostly focusing on the pick. Now, this helps with the path of fewest footsteps and pick efficiency to go through a larger warehouse. Then, of course, you have the option to still associate it with the order. If we click on this button instead of the other one, it won't only create a pick for that part, but it will create a pick for that part, then plus the other lines on the order. Let's just show that. Click and go to pick. This is part number 10009. But then, because 1009 was on order number 24, it's also saying to pick the rest of the parts on that order. That's nice. If we go back to the creation again of parts, creating a pick by part, here's this part number again, the 10011. That looks like it shows up on multiple orders. And if we use this pick creation button right here and go to the order, we'll see that every order that part showed up on is now grouped onto one pick. So that's what that feature means, is whatever order that part is on, put it on the pick. Okay, so we're on the two-step picking creation. First we create the pick and then we pick it. Once the pick is created, we can come back to this mobile device, log into the mobile device, click on the picking screen, swipe down to refresh, and we'll see the picks that we've created. And we can go through, select, and go walk over to the location, scan the part, or select the part. Pause, take a look at this screen here. We've got the order number, the part name, part number, quantity, the quantity to pick. If I click commit, then that means it puts it on the cart. Let's take a closer look at this. This is mushrooms 1010-4. Remember that, mushrooms 1010-4. I'm not going to touch it. I'm going to go to mushrooms 1010-4 in inventory by part, and we'll look at 1010-4. And if we look on the inventory screen, it says we have this many on hand, quantity available, quantity on order, that's what's coming in, not what's going out. Total allocated, that includes this quantity plus other quantity. And if we zoom into this part number, let's drill in here. This is what I really wanted to show. This is the essence of picking. Picking is really moving a part from one location to another in relation to an order. That's the difference between a pick and a move. Really, a move is totally irrelevant to an order. You're just tracking where it's coming from and where it's going to. Picking is progressing it through the status or the stage of an order. So when we pick, we want to see it move. So we'll see that this mushroom 10-10-4 is in the backordered location. There's 796 that we need to pick. And if we look over here on this screen, we'll see that there's 1,000 in the backorder location. So we only need to pick 796 of these 1,000. Now then, we'll pick, and nothing happens yet, but when I click commit, it starts to move it through the progress. If I come over here and click refresh, we'll see that now 796 is in the picking location and the status of it is committed. Then let's say we get interrupted in the middle of the pick. We want to record that we're done picking, or maybe that's not a good example. Let's say we rolled the cart over. The cart was full and we rolled it over to packing, and we wanted to record that we unloaded it off the cart into packing. We click finish, and it's going to just leave the other items as still needing to be picked, but it's going to record that these items were picked. So now that we clicked finish, I'll refresh this, and we'll see that the 796 are now in the packing location. And I'm not going to look for that specific part, but I do want to show that on the sales order screen under the operations tab, we can see the progress of the sales order on the operations tab on the sales order. So this next way to organize picks I think is particularly cool. By destination. So those of you that do deliveries, you'll want to look at this. Click by destination, and then over here on the right hand side we see that we can sort by the city. Now those of you that do deliveries, you're most likely all in the same state, so this might not be the perfect example because I have multiple states here, but you can type in the city and narrow that down. We'll say Detroit, and let's just pretend you've got multiple orders all going to the same city that need to be delivered to the same city. You can group pick and fill your delivery truck up with the pick for delivering to the same city. So destination-based picking, destination-based pick creation. Pretty cool. So thanks for joining me with this thorough look of picking in locate inventory. The 3 different ways: 1 is skip picking altogether. 2 is no strategy involved. These are for smaller companies with not a lot of volume. You just pick. And then for larger companies, the 10,000 square foot warehouses, 20,000 square foot warehouses, those with teams of pickers that are wave picking, for instance, deciding different ways to pick. Decide, then pick. Strategize, then pick. Locate does it all. It fits all 3 scenarios. Comment below if you have a scenario I didn't cover, or if you have a question. Be sure to subscribe to see more videos like this. And of course, click the like button. Always click the like button. I had fun doing this video. Hope you had fun watching it.